So it's my pleasure to invite the opening panel here that will do this software heritage at 10, renewing the Inria UNESCO partnership, the archive as a digital public good. And for that, it's an honor to invite Dr. Tawfik Jelassi, Assistant Director General for Communication and Information here at UNESCO. Again, Dr. Bruno, Sportisse, Chairman and CEO in Inria, to join us here at the stage. Also, Marin, Dacos, representative of the Director General for Research and Innovation, and as the best cases and the institutional memory of this 10th anniversary, Roberto de Cosmo, founder and director of Software Heritage. Welcome, and I guess pass the ball for you, Roberto, to make sure that things are... We start with Tawfik. Okay, Tawfik, over to you.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, esteemed participants, dear colleagues and friends. Good afternoon to all of you, and welcome to the UNESCO headquarters. It's a privilege for me to officially open this year's symposium on behalf of Dr. Khaled Al-Anani, Director General of UNESCO. I'm very pleased to welcome Mr. Bruno Sportisse, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Inria, Mr. Marin Dacos, National Open Science Coordinator at the French Ministry of Higher Education and Research, Professor Roberto de Cosmo, co-founder and director of Software Heritage, and my friend, if he's in the room, otherwise he will shortly join us, Henri Verdier, Director General of the Inria Foundation. I also warmly greet all partners, contributors, sponsors, researchers, developers, archivists, and members of the free and open software community. We are gathered this afternoon to celebrate a very special moment, the 10th anniversary of Software Heritage. This anniversary is an opportunity for celebration, but it is also a unique opportunity for reflection and for responsibility. UNESCO hosts this event because software source code has become one of the foundations of modern life. It shapes how children learn, how scientists discover, how governments deliver services to citizens, and how societies communicate and remember. Often invisible, the absence of software is nonetheless deeply felt in our daily life, especially when it fails, when it disappears, when it becomes inaccessible. Think of a teacher unable to explain how a digital tool works because the software is unavailable. Think of a researcher unable to reproduce earlier findings because the code no longer exists. Think of a public authority unable to explain an automated decision because the underlying logic cannot be traced. These are not theoretical concepts. These are lived realities. This is why UNESCO considers software source code to be more than a technical infrastructure. It is knowledge, it is memory, it is part of our shared documentary heritage that has universal value. Through the UNESCO 2015 recommendation on the preservation of and access to documentary heritage, including in digital form, the UNESCO 193 member states recognized that digital records require the same care as other forms of heritage, including physical. Software belongs within this shared responsibility. Without preservation, societies lose the ability to understand how systems were built, why decisions were made, and how knowledge evolved over time. Preservation, therefore, is not about looking backwards. Preservation is about enabling continuity. When software is preserved, knowledge remains verifiable. When software is accessible, learnings become possible. When software is documented, innovation can build on what already exists. This is especially important for communities with fewer resources, where losing digital knowledge can mean losing opportunities. These issues lie at the heart of the mandate of UNESCO. Education, science, culture, communication, and information form a single ecosystem. Weakness in one part affects the whole. And I'm sure that all of you remember the constitutional mission of UNESCO, which was defined 80 years ago, almost to this date, in 1945. The mission of UNESCO is to build peace in the minds of men and women through education, culture, sciences, information, communication, and knowledge. The 2021 UNESCO recommendation on open science reflects this understanding. It calls for scientific knowledge that is open, inclusive, collaborative, and recognizes the reproducibility depends not only on publications, but also on access to data, to methods, and to software. When code disappears, science becomes fragile. When it is preserved and shared, science becomes stronger and more trustworthy. The same applies to learning. The UNESCO 2019 recommendation on open educational resources promotes access, adaptation, and participation in knowledge creation and dissemination. Software underpins learning platforms and educational tools. Preserving software supports skills development, capacity building, and local innovation, including in underrepresented languages and contexts. These challenges are magnified in the age of data and artificial intelligence. AI is transforming how information is produced, processed, shared, and used, and ultimately how decisions are made. AI can expand access and accelerate discovery, but it can also reinforce inequalities when systems are opaque, biased, or disconnected from social realities. A UNESCO study conducted last year revealed alarming evidence of generative AI producing gender bias, as well as homophobia and social stereotyping. The 2021 UNESCO recommendation on the ethics of artificial intelligence, the only one in the world to date, the one that is currently being implemented by 80 member states around the world. This recommendation provides a global reference point, placing human rights, inclusion, transparency, and accountability at the center of AI governance. Here, software preservation plays a critical role. Verifiable code enables scrutiny. Clear provenance supports accountability. Documentation allows learning and improvement. Without these foundations, trust becomes difficult to sustain. UNESCO advances this vision through open solutions, linking open access, open data, open educational resources, and open source software into a coherent framework for equity and sustainability. These approaches help ensure that digital knowledge remains accessible and reusable across regions and generations. I also would like to note the UNESCO collaboration with KISTI, that is the Korean Institute of Science and Technology Information, an institute that supports open solutions through concrete work on open data, but also through Diamond Open Access and software heritage, with a strong focus on capacity building and capacity development, especially in Africa and Asia. Open data is a key part of this ecosystem. Here, UNESCO guidance emphasizes that data for AI must be accessible, interoperable, and reusable while protecting privacy and managing risk. When these elements align, countries can build digital public infrastructure that supports innovation while safeguarding rights. This vision connects directly to global commitments, including the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, the United Nations Pact for the Future, and the Global Digital Compact. All reaffirm that digital transformation must serve people, reduce divides, and strengthen trust. As Simone Weil once said, the future is made of the same stuff as the present. The choices we make today about preservation, access, and governance will shape the digital world of tomorrow. This is why today matters. For 10 years, software heritage has ensured that software does not silently disappear. It has enabled societies to examine, understand, and reuse what they create. Yet this anniversary is not only about what has been achieved, it's about what comes next. No single institution can preserve digital commons alone. Cooperation matters, shared standards matter, trust matters. This is why partnerships matter as well. Today, UNESCO renews its cooperation partnership with Inria and Software Heritage and launches a new 5-year program on digital public goods. Let this symposium connect technical excellence with social purpose and help ensure that digital transformation serves people and supports sustainable development. In conclusion, I am very pleased to declare the Software Heritage 2026 Symposium and Summit open. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jelassi, and also for finishing with this inspiration for all of us to keep this alliance and partnership going for the coming years. Now, my pleasure to invite Dr. Sportisse, Chairman and CEO of Inria, for his opening remarks. Over to you.
Monsieur le directeur général adjoint, cher Tawfik, cher Marin, mesdames, messieurs, cher Henri, cher Roberto, dear all, it's really a great honor for me to be here for this conference dedicated to software heritage at the core of the strategic partnership between UNESCO and Inria. And more than ever, I am really impressed year after year by the momentum you have been able to impulse, you and your team, you and your ecosystem, you and your partners, Roberto. And this is also the opportunity to meet friends, to be honest, as well. And this is a good illustration of this great ecosystem you have been able to build. And now I switch to one of the official languages of UNESCO, namely French. Je suis heureux d'être parmi vous à l'occasion de ce symposium consacré à Software Heritage. Merci à l'UNESCO de nous accueillir. Et c'est aussi, ça a été dit par le directeur général et par Tawfik, l'occasion de renouveler notre partenariat stratégique entre Inria et l'UNESCO, un partenariat de maturité, 10 ans. Alors tout à l'heure, Roberto l'a dit, une sculpture réalisée en 3D par un des projets d'Inria, le projet MFX du centre Inria de l'Université de Lorraine, a été offerte au directeur général de l'UNESCO et à moi-même d'ailleurs. C'est une sculpture qui a été réalisée avec un logiciel. Et je tiens à remercier les collègues, Sylvain Lefebvre, le responsable de ce projet, ses collègues, pour l'implication. Ce code, le code qui a permis de générer, est préservé dans l'archive de Software Heritage. Et c'est une belle illustration, d'une certaine manière, de ce qui est, on va dire, en jeu avec Software Heritage et avec le partenariat entre Inria et l'UNESCO. Alors, plus que jamais, ce partenariat est très important. This partnership matter, comme vous l'avez dit, cher Tawfik. Nous connaissons tous le contexte international et géopolitique dans lequel nous évoluons. C'est un contexte qui évolue rapidement, qui signe la fin sans doute d'une période, qui consacre le retour en force des logiques de puissance. Moi, je fais partie de ceux qui pensent que ces logiques de puissance n'ont jamais disparu. Il y a des discours de façade et parfois un peu de naïveté. Et dans ce nouveau contexte, les dynamiques de multilatéralisme que la France a toujours soutenues, car elles correspondent à nos valeurs d'universalisme, notamment depuis 1789, sont remises en cause, sont en danger. Et ce nouveau contexte, il est en collision avec l'accélération, vous l'avez décrit, Tawfik, cher Tawfik, avec l'accélération de l'impact du numérique, dans l'intelligence artificielle, qui est tout sauf inattendu pour les acteurs du numérique, qu'ils soient des organisations de recherche comme Inria, des entreprises, des entrepreneurs, des organisations internationales impliquées sur ces sujets. Et plus que jamais, le logiciel dévore le monde. Je me tiens au choix du français pour reprendre une phrase célèbre d'un investisseur américain. Moi, je suis pas sûr qu'on ait toujours bien pris la mesure en Europe et en France que c'est le logiciel qui dévore le monde. Bien sûr, nous devons garantir l'accès, souvent des problématiques industrielles, à des ressources stratégiques, je pense aux semi-conducteurs, mais c'est le logiciel qui impose le rythme. Ces cycles d'innovation, ces cycles en temps, ces dynamiques d'écosystème, c'est le logiciel qui bouleverse toutes nos filières économiques, qui bouleverse l'accès à la culture, à la formation, à l'information, donc nos sociétés, qui bouleverse la mise en œuvre des politiques publiques. Et au croisement de ce contexte géopolitique et de ce contexte numérique, où le numérique est enfin compris comme outil de puissance, c'est pour cela que les questions liées à la souveraineté, quels que soient les mots qu'on utilise, aux dépendances, deviennent enfin centrales. Et bien dans ce contexte, garantir des formes de multilatéralisme nous permettra ou non de répondre à des questions qui deviennent existentielles parce que, ça a été dit par Tawfik, ce ne sont pas des sujets techniques ou qui concernent seulement, je mets des guillemets, la communauté du numérique ou de la communauté de la recherche en numérique. Alors comment construire des biens publics mondiaux dans le numérique avec quelques règles du jeu qui respectent un socle commun de valeurs et qui ne dépendent pas du bon vouloir de quelques acteurs technologiques, souvent étroitement liés à des nations. Comment garantir un accès ouvert à des ressources numériques, au cœur desquelles le logiciel, le code. Pour la recherche, toute la recherche est transformée par l'intelligence artificielle. Pour inventer des nouveaux concepts et des nouvelles technologies, pour répondre à des défis vitaux pour l'humanité, dans la santé, dans l'éducation, dans la défense aussi. Pour réduire des dépendances vitales pour nos politiques publiques, pour réduire des risques systémiques qui relèvent de l'intelligence artificielle ou de la cybersécurité. Comment ne pas perdre notre mémoire numérique, qui devient une mémoire aussi importante que d'autres fondements de la culture humaine, au sens très large du terme. Comment ne pas laisser la clé à quelques acteurs. Donc il y a des enjeux qui sont vertigineux. Et 10 ans après son lancement, c'est à ces questions que notre partenariat stratégique entre l'UNESCO et Inria doit à présent, modestement, essayer de répondre. Alors évidemment, l'UNESCO apporte une dimension essentielle avec sa vocation universelle, sa dynamique multilatérale, sa neutralité institutionnelle. Et puis, c'est important d'avoir inscrit le code source dans la logique des biens communs mondiaux. Et je tiens vraiment à remercier l'UNESCO pour sa confiance dans la durée. Et Inria apporte une dynamique d'écosystème national, européen, à l'heure où l'Union européenne lance une consultation sur les écosystèmes ouverts du numérique, et puis surtout mondial, au front de sciences et de technologie. Et moi, je tiens à remercier tous nos partenaires, quelle que soit leur nature, dont aussi en France le ministère des Affaires étrangères pour leur soutien dans la durée. Voilà. Et c'est dans ce cadre que se déploie Software Heritage, Une initiative ambitieuse pour une infrastructure logicielle d'impact mondial, à portée mondiale. Alors, cher Roberto, et à travers toi, tous les acteurs de Software Heritage, je veux vraiment te dire un grand merci. C'est pas nouveau, pas chaque fois qu'on se voit, je te dis ça, en fait. Un grand bravo pour avoir tracé ce chemin au long cours, pour ton énergie, pour ta vision, pour la capacité à, désolé du terme, délivrer aussi, et puis aussi pour la capacité à faire évoluer la vision. Parce que le projet a évolué en 10 ans. Et il est passé de bibliothèque d'Alexandrie du numérique à une infrastructure qui est crédible pour répondre aux enjeux que j'ai rappelés. Et c'est un long chemin d'évolution de la vision, et je veux t'en remercier. Inria et la fondation Inria ont joué un rôle de socle, de garant scientifique, de garant technologique et institutionnel pour permettre à Software Heritage de se construire sur des bases solides en agrégeant des soutiens croissants d'organisations de tous les pays, puis de tous les types, que ce soit des entreprises, des universités, des centres de recherche, des organisations gouvernementales. L'enjeu, ce n'est plus la preuve de concept, mais c'est le changement d'échelle, c'est l'internationalisation, c'est la mise en place d'une gouvernance multi-acteurs autour de ce projet, c'est la montée stratégique et opérationnelle pour répondre à quelques enjeux qui dépassent de loin le cadre de l'open source et de l'open science, qui ne sont pas des fins en soi, qui sont importants, mais qui ne sont pas des fins en soi. Et moi, je veux réaffirmer l'engagement durable d'Inria comme un partenaire de ce projet, un partenaire engagé qui accompagne cette aventure, tout en respectant son autonomie croissante. Et en tant que président de la Fondation Inria, je sais que Henri Verdier, son directeur général, s'exprimera en clôture. Je veux renouveler l'importance de continuer à renforcer cet écosystème autour du projet. Software Heritage est né à Inria, chez Inria, comme on dit maintenant, a grandi avec l'UNESCO et entre aujourd'hui dans une nouvelle phase, celle d'une infrastructure mondiale qui peut devenir un bien public mondial au service de nos grands enjeux. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Sportisse. And to continue now, Mr. Marin Dacos, representative of the Director General for Research and Innovation. The floor is yours.
Dear UNESCO Assistant Director General Tawfik Jelassi, dear Inria Chief Executive Officer, dear Bruno, dear Roberto, dear colleagues, it's a great honor for me to represent today the Director General for Research and Innovation of the French Ministry of Higher Education, Research and Space at the opening ceremony today. Software plays a crucial role in education, in research, in culture, and public services in industry. Open source software are a digital public good that require preservation and sustainability. Digital assets are fragile, very fragile, and you had the intuition years ago that things could happen badly. They are at risk. We need open, shared, and resilient infrastructures in this field. This is precisely why Software Heritage has been created. Inria has been a pioneer in creating such an initiative. And the first French plan for open science decided from the early beginning to support software heritage. The second French plan for open science puts a specific emphasis on the topic of software. For the first time at this level, software is recognized as a key asset in the research process. It is recognized as a tool, but also as a research result and as a research object. France, therefore, was one of the first countries to implement a national policy on open source software produced by research. In this policy, software heritage plays a central role as a critical infrastructure for collecting and sharing, archiving and sharing source code. Another aim of the policy is to recognize source code as a contribution to research. This includes the creation of an open source research award, Open Science Research Software Award, rewarding outstanding and impactful projects in the field. This award is very important to recognize the impact and quality of software. We also have the ambition to increase the academic and the socio-economic impact of research software. A survey conducted in 2023 revealed that about 30% of the software produced by French academics is used outside the academic world. We also support the recognition of software production in the assessment of research. In this context, we support COARA, the Coalition for Advancing Research Assessment. To evaluate the impact of our open science policy, we have developed the French Open Science Monitor, that today is a model for some other countries. The monitor indicates that 18% of French research publications share their code or software. So there is room for improvement, even if the trend is in the good direction. Software heritage is also included as a project in the national roadmap for French research infrastructure since 2021, and we are waiting to know the next roadmap if software heritage will be included as a formal member as it is expected. Software heritage has also been selected in 2023 as an essential open science infrastructure by SCOS, Global Sustainability Coalition for Open Science Services. We need open science infrastructures in order to build up an ecosystem connecting code, data, and publication. Here again, software heritage plays a central role. In order to facilitate software citation, we encourage the standardization of the software hash identifier suite. We need interoperability, but also resilience and academic sovereignty. This is the reason why we support software heritage together with HAL for scholarly publication and Research Data Gov for research data. They are key open science infrastructure. Given the current international context, this is important more than ever, and it should be a long-term commitment. We need infrastructures with transparent and shared governance, such as software heritage, to ensure strong collective resilience. This can help mitigate potential shortcomings associated with public or private sector actors that may be subject to economic uncertainties or political fluctuations. Today we celebrate the 10th anniversary of software heritage. It is now the largest archive of publicly available source code ever built in the world. Software heritage is a success, and we are proud of being one of its sponsors. I therefore wish to congratulate all the people involved in this important success, in particular Inria, UNESCO, and all the sponsors, and of course, the team. The French Ministry of Higher Education, Research and Space will be supportive of software heritage as our worldwide universal software archive. Thank you very much.
And again, Roberto, I guess you will still give us an introduction for what comes next during this afternoon. So over to you.
Let me just start by saying how moved I am and all the team is to be here again with such high-level people and listening to the words that have been spoken officially in support of an effort that lasted over 10 years, and we hope it will never end by the end. So today I'm going to use this thing. Let me see, okay. Let's provide you a little reminder. I mean, why software matters all around us. If you look at software, it is intangible. That's the reason why we made it tangible by an object that we offer this moment to mark that it's a real thing. But it is actually the fuel of innovation, the engine of industry, the pillar of academic research. It is a fabric that binds together all aspects of our digital lives and digital society. And when we think about software, most of the people do not know or do not realize immediately that software doesn't come out of the blue. It's actually written by humans, and it's written by humans for humans to read. You will say there is AI, yes, but you look at the code produced by AI, it is also developed in such a way that a human, or maybe an AI, is able to read it. And to give you a concrete example, here we have a small excerpt of the COVID SIM code that was developed in University College London during that was used during the COVID pandemics. to actually simulate the evolution of the pandemics. You see, this is code written in C++. It is a modern language, but despite that, the name of the variable, the name of the function, the comments around it are not designed for the machine. The machine doesn't care what is the name of the variable, the name of the function, or the comments. Name of variable, function, and comments are for humans to understand what is going on. And actually, as the former director of the Computer History Museum wrote in a beautiful paper in 2006, having access to the source code opens for us a window in the mind of the designer. That's the reason why it is so important to have the source code and not just the executables. Well, today we finally have information which is concrete. It is not just a vision, it's not just a view of mind, it is not just philosophy, it is hard facts about the fact that software is a global undertaking that really is relevant for all of us. On the top left of the slide that you see, this is an excerpt of the French Open Science Monitor that Marin Dacos mentioned before, and this is actually has been run for, I think this is the 4th year, if I'm not wrong, of this thing. It shows the percentage of research articles that mention the use or the creation or sharing of software. What is very important here, not just the percentage, is how it is breaking down. So you have software used, created, and shared, of course in computer science, of course in physics, of course in other technical words, but also in the humanities, in social science, in psychology, in geography, etc., because you do statistics, you do geolocation, etc. So it's really fundamental all over the place, in all disciplines of science. Second image that you see on the top on the right, you see the analysis of the evolution of popularity of programming languages that we could see through the archive over the past 20 years. And so you see, it is a global undertaking also because it is multi-spoken. There are so many programming languages used. And a funny statistics that I learned when chatting with, discussing with colleagues doing automatic translation, they told me, so I'm not sure it's fully true, but I'm sharing with you that there are almost or around 7,000 human languages, from dead to alive languages. But in less than a century, we were able to build more and create more than 8,000 programming languages. I guess how creative we are in computer science. Then again, it is a global undertaking. The left bottom image, it is a picture taken through the software heritage archive. They show how the geolocation of contribution evolved over time. This is beautiful work done by, where is Stefano? Stefano and his colleagues in over 50 years of software available there. And you see the different roles of Europe, the US over time. But now, if you look at the last years, this is really spread across all the world. Okay, everybody's contributing. Last picture that you see on the bottom right, this is actually concrete, objective facts about the rate of growth of original content that you see in the archive. It is basically doubling every 2 years. It's a big challenge for somebody who wants to preserve all this because it is an exponential growth, and we do not know how the slope will evolve now that we have AI-generated code. Or maybe it will be doubling every year, who knows, we'll see. We'll see in a few moments. Now, in front of this global challenge, we started 10 years ago this initiative that was built from the very beginning to do something that nobody else, unfortunately, was doing back then. Collecting, preserving, and sharing all the publicly available source code, ideally in the long term, all the source code, including the non-public available. Why? Because this way we can build a unified, universal catalog that allows you to find all the software which is developed worldwide. Doesn't matter where it comes from, because it provides an archive that saves and preserves the software, which is much more fragile than what you believe. And then, last but not least, as a key fundamental, as Bruno was saying before, not just an archive, but much more a key fundamental infrastructure for exploring the galaxy of software development today, in the past, and in the future. Now, this has been a long decade. The initial work was done in a very small committee, particularly Stefano and me, and then Nicolas and Antoine, who joined at the very beginning in 2015 to start archiving without saying anything to anybody, because we come from the open source world and we know that our fellows are waiting not just for ideas, but for proof of concept. So we spent a full year to build this proof of concept. And then 2016, this was unveiled. 2017, the agreement with UNESCO. Then we opened the real archive in 2018, still here at UNESCO. In 2019, we had 40 experts worldwide sitting down together to write the Paris Call on software source code for sustainable development that contains basically our guidelines for what we have been doing in this period. And this was a foundational phase, but then you need to build the infrastructure to get awareness and recognition. And so this would, let's say roughly, we can say 2019 to 2023, some landmarks of the recognition in the EOSC, European Open Science Cloud strategic view of the importance of software as a common infrastructure, the presence in the National Open Science Plan, in the National Infrastructure Plan that Marin mentioned, and finally, this is for super important, 2023, the opening of the first international mirror of software heritage, because we say the software heritage is the Library of Alexandria, because we go and collect things like the people in the Library of Alexandria did, but we also remember that the Library of Alexandria went up in flames, and we do not want to see software heritage going up in flames, so we had mirrors around. And here we have Giovanni Ponti, who is running the first mirror in 2023 from Inria. But then, more recently, we are moving forward in the direction that Bruno was mentioning. Now we are building, actually, not only the services, but the infrastructure and the products which have significant added value for society as a whole. We started working in producing results for cybersecurity. We started working for producing results in AI, how to be transparent, responsible in creating data set for models that respect the human being that actually created the data on which they are trained, the creation of a standard for this identifier that were mentioned, and the assembly of an advisory board that has been helping us since in June last year. Now, this was 10 years, and today what you have is the largest software archive that was already mentioned, so over 400 million projects collected from more than 5,000 different platforms around the world. Today, what you see also is a mirror network that has become a reality. So the mirror that was in India, the first one in Italy was 2023. This last year we have a mirror in Greece run by GRNet. There is another mirror that is almost complete in Germany, and here we have Michael Goldicke who presented. And we are very happy to say we just signed last week an agreement with Spain, with the Inria software to build a mirror in Spain. So this, I think, will provide enough initial protection to not lose all this. And of course, we need to go worldwide, outside of Europe. It will take more time. Now, it's an international nonprofit initiative. We thank a lot to all our sponsors that joined us. And I want to conclude by saying something which is very important for me. I'm very grateful for the very kind words that have been spent towards me. Now, I'm not very used to this. You know, in my education, I were not very used to having people saying thanks to me. And I have to say this was very useful when arriving in France, where nobody has the habit to say thank you to you. They just tell you when something doesn't work. But let me say thank now to all the people that actually made this possible. It is not just me. It is an incredible team. So they will ask. We'd like to ask here all the people from the team to stand up for a moment, if you can, all of you, so people can see you. And this is the team which is running all this. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you on their behalf. These are motivated people. They do not work just in the usual time shift. They work because they believe in what we are doing. And I'm and thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to all of you. Then we have the advisory board. They decided to spend their time for free for us, and they have been working hard. They will help us moving in new direction. You have all the sponsors and members. This picture has been taken last year. We will publish the new one that we took just a couple of hours ago. And we have over 42 ambassadors around the world that spread the word of what is going on. So let me finish. A few news, which are important for you, because 10 years, but it doesn't mean we don't have new. On the cultural side, we have now agreements with the Computer History Museum in Mountain View, with the Deutsche Museum in Munich. I forgot to put there the Cité des Sciences. You see, when you arrived here, there was an exposition that you will see during the break later on with the people that bring you there. And this exposition will go around the world, and we need to thank all the people who actually did this. We'll come back to this. We are moving our infrastructure to a central location in Gen C and CNES to make it more solid. We are now member of the Digital Public Book Repository since last week. We signed the United Nations Open Source Principle. We created an ISO standard for the software hash identifier, and we just released a reference implementation in Rust distributed under the MIT license for everybody to adopt, with over 200 different tests that can allow anybody else to build a compatible infrastructure, and this is very helpful for standardization. And we are also happy to see the geography of the supporter expanding, with the Technology Innovation Institute joining as our last sponsor. Now, we are creating services, as it was said. We have seen this morning with the sponsor, we are able to provide strategic software insight reports at the level which was unprecedented and possible before. We are creating, and this is a work which is spearheaded by Stefano, incredible inroads to provide new added value services for cybersecurity to help detect vulnerabilities that are not visible unless you use the software heritage. And then we are supporting open source program offices. This is Marin leading a work to create this portal, and we are working for producing data in a transparent way. So today, I have to say, if we want to go global, we need global awareness and global recognition. We are very grateful to the French president during the speech that he delivered for the Sorbonne on Choose Europe for Science. Software was the only infrastructure that was mentioned as key for research in that particular moment. And we spent significant time last year going around, either me or people from the team or together with the team in different areas of the world to establish connection and collaboration on open science, on AI, on cybersecurity, on resilience. Now, speaking of resilience, let me finish with this little example. What you see here is objective data which is extracted from the software heritage archive that shows the repartition of the code hosting platform used by researchers across all of France. There is a big red section, red or green, it depends on what you think and who you are, that shows the huge concentration of platforms that are used, which are proprietary and non-European. I mean, no problem whatsoever. We work with them and we want to make more reliable, but it's important that you understand that we have single point of failures around us. So when we talk about digital sovereignty or all these kind of things, start by looking at what we are really doing before proposing to spend billions in other things, okay? And so today, Software Edge is already able to help everybody, including this massive platform, to ensure that everybody can still have access to the source code, no matter what is decided technically or politically, because we already save all the source code. We already provide identifiers that guarantee integrity. We already work to enable long-term producibility. But this is just the starting point. We did this with microscopic funding compared to what you can find in the US in other projects. And so with much more funding, I mean in time 10, time 40, whatever, we can actually build something that I have a tendency to call ecumenical resilience. What does this mean? I mean, it means strategic autonomy, which is a term very used, or digital sovereignty, but digital sovereignty has a feeling of it is sovereign for me, so it is not for you. So either I'm safe or you are safe, but not both. Well, here we propose to make everybody safe, okay? sovereignty for all. Why? Because we have a standard, non-profit, long-term, multi-stakeholder organization, and we have mirrors all over the planet. So everybody has a copy, everybody is safe, we share the common cost, and we can get into that direction. But for this, we need to really move to another level from what we have done now. Now, I have been very long, so let me finish by saying this symposium, as always, is an opportunity for different communities to bring their expertise and their point of view on different facets of why software is important in our world. And so here we have the pleasure to have a session on AI and transparent responsible AI, a session on software as a digital public good, and the session of a key issue is how do we sustain this digital public good. And then together with Henri, and with Guilherme, we will conclude the day by taking some stock of what we have been doing. Thank you for your patience, listening to an old guy that speaks too long, and opening the symposium for everybody. Thank you very much, and Aurélie, the floor is yours.